because it doesn't.
Damn, son, where'd you find this?
Yo, that's so angry, guys.
Nope, 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 nope. Nope, 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 nope.
Hey, that's pretty good.
Good morning, PCTV fam. It is October already. Can you believe it? It's October 3rd, 2022. It is 9:01 a.m. The futures right now are bouncing, but is this Groundhog Day? I guess that remains to be seen. It's probably likely. We'll see how this goes. But the S&P right now is up 36 points. The Dow's up 315. NASDAQ's up 75 points. So it's green across the board. And I'm checking out Bitcoin as well. That is at $19,244 per Bitcoin at 71 points in the green today. Guys, what's up, fam? We got Jaime on one side of me. I got
Good morning.
Tamp and Greg on the screen as well.
Good morning, everyone.
Morning.
Outstanding. First Monday of October. Historically, let's see how true this turns out to be.
I was about to
Let's
ask that
see.
because, like, there's been some mixed reports that I've gotten. Like, October sucks. October is great. What is it, Jaime?
Depends on our attitude this Monday, I think. Going this month, guys. So let's do it up. But historically, I guess some of the big drops in history have occurred in October. I think
Exactly.
Yeah.
I'm one that I don't like Bitcoin in October. I don't like it. I mean, I know October, and a lot of people will say historically it is done better in October than September, but I don't like Bitcoin October.
Yeah, and it depends on the timing of the market, also of what October does. Last year was pretty good. This year, we will find out.
Was last year pretty good? Because that was after Bitcoin had peaked.
It peaked in November, I think.
Was it November?
I thought it was October. I thought it actually peaked in October.
Well, now we have
Might
to.
have.
Yeah, let's pull up the
Yeah,
chart.
it was still way up there though.
Yeah, it was still.
I thought
It did a double top.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. You're right. Well,
Retest is the test.
as we're pulling this up, guys, we've got some really nice things to look forward to for today's show. We're going to be talking about the Kim Kardashian shit that's happening right now. See that fine
Careful what you tweet.
$1.23 million from the SEC. We're going to find out as to why and whether or not we think it was fair. Now, think about what you want about Kim Kardashian, but I, for one, I think might have a contrarian view on this. So we'll talk about that. Buying big tech. Is it time to start taking a look at some of these tech companies that are down 80, 90%? Which ones are shit? Which ones are not? Looking at a couple other things here on the docket too. Credit Suisse maybe going bankrupt. We'll be talking about that as well.
That's a big one.
Yeah. So lots of good stories coming up. Also, what the fuck moment of the day, as well as birthdays. Guys, I've got some good ones coming up. So make sure you're taking a look at that. But guys, how was your weekend?
Good weekend. Good. Full of football.
Chase Elliott won. Pretty tame Talladega race. Packers won.
Ravens did not.
Oh, he was upset. I witnessed this guy coming in to do the stream last night. He was not a happy camper.
I don't know if I was upset. I think it was just kind of like, God damn it. Like, what the fuck? Like, all right, maybe that is upset.
Yeah,
I was gonna say.
They're not as bad as the Panthers.
No, but at least the Panthers, you know that they're going in and losing that game. I mean, Ravens were up, the Ravens were up 17-3 and again blew a lead because the defense just can't keep it together.
Damn, that's tough.
It is.
It's a tough pill to swallow.
Oh shit.
Yeah, but you weren't getting booed by the home crowd.
Ooh, it was that bad.
Yeah, for the Panthers, yeah.
Jeez,
Man.
rough
So-
out there in Charlotte.
So help me. Yeah, I was going to say. So help me understand this, because I was at a bar over the weekend watching the Ravens game, and it was a giant melting pot of fans, which I loved. One guy stopped me, was a Ravens fan as well, from White Marsh, Maryland, which is right around the corner. And you saw that I had my Lamar Jackson jersey on, and then started buying me shots. I was
Nice.
And then from
Okay.
that point on, I didn't pay a dime for any of my drinks moving forward. I didn't see any Panthers fans, and I still haven't really seen any diehard Panthers fans since I've been here. So is Charlotte just not a football town?
No, that's not right.
For
That's
the-
not right.
But
for,
I
for the
gotta ask-
NFL, for the NFL,
Okay.
I'm not talking college or anything like that. For the NFL, is college not a football town, or Charlotte not a football town?
It is.
It is.
It
Okay.
is.
I'm wondering.
But you make a good point, but that's one place. I mean, if you went to a place that's known for Panthers fans, I'm sure would just have an absolute blast. But
That's
you'll
fair.
find people who are Cam Newton fans, but then when you have a team,
I haven't
you know,
seen anybody
that's-
who's Cam Newton fan around here.
Or they're hiding. They're in
Yeah.
hibernation right now.
but you have Christian McCaffrey, like these guys that you can't help but be a fan. You're gonna love them.
The only reason I say that is because at least back home in Maryland, it didn't matter if you were in Baltimore, it didn't matter if you were in the burbs or in rural Maryland. Fridays was Purple Friday. Everybody wore their Ravens gear. Greg knows, yeah, and so like it was everywhere. You just don't see that in this area. At least I haven't, and I've been here
It was
long.
either up in that area is either purple or crimson, one or the other.
Yeah.
That's fair.
Interesting. Well, Keith says no one's from Carolinas anymore.
That's what I think probably is the thing, right? Because there are so many transplants here.
Yeah.
I mean, I had a guy stop me who was a Ravens fan, paid for my drinks the rest of the game, and then the couple sitting next to me were from upstate, and then there was somebody else who was like I don't know, Commanders fan, and then we had Jaguars fans on the other side of me. It's like there's just no Panthers fans anywhere. Maybe it's just because they're terrible, but maybe it changes if they start actually winning.
Fair
games.
weather.
Yeah.
Fair weather
Yeah.
fans.
Yeah, I've taken Uber quite a few times, and it's rare to find a Carolinian Uber driver. They're
Yeah.
from Florida, New York, like all over the place. I've noticed.
Yeah, it's interesting.
So Charlotte is a melting pot.
It
Go
is.
figure. Go
Yeah.
figure.
It is. I'm trying to find this doesn't look like the rate chart. Jaime, help me out here.
What are we looking for, sir?
Bitcoin, when Bitcoin peaked.
Double tap. Let's do.
Oh, is it right here?
Yes, but let's increase the. So it topped.
Hold on.
Oh,
Share the screen. There you go.
It's November.
yes. So the first top occurred in April 21.
That's
The second
That's
top.
the top that I was.
Is November.
Yeah.
Okay.
So
So,
it did
October.
go down in October.
No, actually, look, this big dildo, green one, is October.
Which
Oh.
one?
That is October.
Where we
October.
at? Oh, there we are.
This one right here.
That October, huh?
Yeah. Peaked in November and began its demise on its way south. And we are now holding support on that level. So we will see what happens this October, or come on downtober. We'll find out.
Yeah. That's
Well, what
interesting.
could contribute? What could contribute to that? There's a number of things I saw this weekend.
What you got, Tam?
Just some of the stuff we're talking about today, as far as are we actually starting to hedge now? Which I think Bitcoin could be hedging. I mean, there's all kind of news right now.
Yeah. I think there is something to be said for that, and we're going to get into that topic in just a moment. But real quick, I wanted to shout out Rob T. Says my new morning commute show. Love to hear that, guys. If you are also watching us here this morning, make sure that you give us a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel if you're not already. Also, make sure you go ahead and check out our Discord. That link is in the description. We'd love to have you guys hanging out with us. If you want more DC TV, we're only live for an hour a day, but you could have us 24/7. If you go check us out at our DC TV Discord, the link is in the description, and it's free. It doesn't cost you a dime. Come hang out with us. Come talk crypto. Come talk about whatever we want. We'd love to have you guys there to come and hang out. So to that end, Tamp, Bitcoin has barely moved for the month of September, Bitcoin barely moved. The SP was down 10% in September,
Yep.
and we didn't see hardly any movement in Bitcoin at all for that month. And we could potentially see, as you pointed out, move up in October. So, can we make the argument that perhaps we theoretically say that Bitcoin may have bottomed? Is it possible? Is it possible for Bitcoin to have bottomed without capitulation?
Yes, it is possible. It is possible. And
Jaime
and in
doesn't
all
wanna say
honesty,
it.
Jaime
he
doesn't
doesn't
want
want
to. I
to.
know Don
Jaime.
doesn't want to say it.
Listen, yeah, when we started closing out last week, and even through this weekend, it looked bad. I mean, like the volume wasn't there. You're like, ooh, here comes that leg lower. We're going into the 17s, and then, ooh, that sucker just started reversing and going north all of a sudden, and it looked decently solid too. It looked better than I think a lot of people would have given it credit for. So, what else is going on that's making people do this? And I'll tell you what, I think some of Jerome Powell's, really, it was like answers to his questions. It wasn't what he said about, raising interest rates again. It was some of the answers to the questions that journalists were asking. I think people were reading between the lines that he basically said, we're just getting started, And so I don't know. I think through the end of the year, I think Bitcoin, because of some of those things that are happening with interest rates and just monetary policy going off the charts, Bitcoin is, I think, going to be pretty sticky in this range. I'm not saying it will hit super bottoms. It might go another leg lower, but we might see a little uptick into the low 20s, 23, something like that, because boy, while everything else is imploding, Bitcoin's getting sticky right now.
It really is. It's at 19,300 right now, dollars per Bitcoin. It came into the month of September at 20,000. So
Correct.
only declined around 2% for the month of September. As I'd mentioned, the S&P was down around 10%. Are we starting to see potentially people move money into Bitcoin as that hedge that we've been talking about for who knows how long?
I think so. When people normally buy real estate, but they have to buy it at a 6 or 7% mortgage rate at this point, I don't want to do that. Where else am I going to put my money? In another currency that's all devaluing? Am I going to put it in the dollar, which we all know is real volatile right now, despite how strong it looks? Where are you going to put your money? Gold? I mean, I guess you can, but if you're going to put it in gold, you might as well put some in Bitcoin. You're putting it in old technology in gold. Why not put some in new technology as well? Again, if people are looking at Bitcoin right now, the more they look, the more likely they are to buy, because you cannot understand Bitcoin and not own it.
I love Don Front. So I was about to mention my thoughts, and he says, "Don't say it." But then you go ahead and say it, Don. Oh, I love it, man. I bet, and I agree with Don Front. I bet it does pop to 21-22 before the next leg down, and that's shown in the charts where we're on support. We're holding support, so it may show a leg up, a little dead cat bounce, if you call it. But on the monthly is where my biggest concern is that we confirmed a close below. Let me jump on this one. On the monthly, guys. So at this moment, we're confirmed support here. But if you look at the chart, whoops. Sorry, guys. Here we go. Monthly load. We confirmed it. So this is the monthly chart. And that green line you see here is the monthly moving average. It took 50 months to come to this level here. We just confirmed a close below it and begin
2 months in a row.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. So we see the dump here, but correct. So at this point, either we retest it as resistance, and that's where the 22,400, which is near Don Fran's forecast is, or we come down and test this bottom. So we may see the next week's green before the next leg down is what I see here. It remains to be seen, but that's where my bet is at this moment. And of course, do your own research.
So I will say, just to play devil's advocate, obviously the charts tell us a lot, but what I will say is that the noise for the 13,800 bottom is getting louder. We, of course, were one of the first ones to talk about it over the summer, and nobody was even sniffing at 13,800 when we were talking about it. It's getting louder now. We're starting to see it on mainstream media. We're starting to see it all over social media. And you have to wonder if everybody's expecting 13,800 to be a bottom, if it ever actually does reach there, because as the noise gets louder for that, you have more people wanting to get in and buy this before it actually gets to that point. Could we make that argument?
Yes, and because now the herd is jumping on board with a concept.
That's what I was
and that's the contrarian view. So one of two things: either it never gets there, or we wick so far below to the 10,000 level that people thinking, oh, 13A is the bottom. Oh my God, they buy and immediately let us hands resell the market. So we'll see that. Yeah, that's a very real possibility.
Yeah, it's just something that I've seen a lot, just with more popular stocks and pump and dump type shit, right? Like people, the louder the noise gets, the less likely something like that's going to happen. And so now I'm starting to see 13,000 bottom calls all over the place. And so it's kind of like, could it ever actually get there? And it still can, of course. But I think that the probabilities are getting slimmer as that noise continues to get louder.
Yeah. And Lord Fenrir says it's been running in a channel since June. Dead cat bounce doesn't apply.
Yeah.
So we just got to do our due diligence, do our own research, and make the calls as we see them.
Yeah, absolutely. And, this is also going to be contingent on what the Fed does. If the Fed continues to stay super aggressive, we will see more than likely Bitcoin continue to come down.
Yep. And like gold itself, they've remained stable. Gold has been declining, actually. It's down to the 1,600.
Silver has been on the move.
Correct. Yes, absolutely. So these are the hedges, and everyone's affected by this economy, this inflation.
All right, switching up. It's what the fuck moment of the day.
Ooh.
The SEC came after Kim Kardashian, guys. I know that everybody's really sad about it. But here's the story, okay? The SEC charges Kim Kardashian for unlawfully touting crypto security. She was fined $1.23 million by the SEC for basically not disclosing that she got paid $250,000 to publish a post on her Instagram about EMAX tokens, the crypto asset currently being offered by Ethereum Max. Kardashian's post contained a link to the Ethereum Max website, which provided its instructions for potential investors to purchase EMAX tokens. And guys, nobody's going to shed a tear for Kim Kardashian, right? But I do think that this is kind of bullshit. I think this is my what the fuck moment of the day, only because it's like, how many times has Elon Musk touted Dogecoin all over the place on Saturday Night Live, for crying out loud, all over his Twitter? How many times has he said things about just Tesla in general on his own Twitter? And he's gotten some trouble with the SEC, but not $1.23 million worth of trouble. Michael Saylor, right?
Actually, I thought he got more. I thought he got more for that Tesla. I thought it was like 40 million that Tesla had to pay.
40 million? I don't think so. You can look it up. Correct me if I'm wrong on that, but I thought it was somewhere around 400K. And that he needed to get approval to make tweets, which he still hasn't gotten that taken care of. But you look at Michael Saylor and the implications that he would be facing, or not facing, but the influence that he has over Bitcoin, right? The stakes are much higher for somebody like Elon Musk or Michael Saylor or Matt Damon, crypto.com. Does anybody know how much he gets paid?
Only the bold.
And I mean, maybe there's some fine print somewhere where it's actually listed, right? But my point is that the SEC is making an example of her, but there's definitely some stronger examples out there that I feel like the SEC could have hammered down a lot harder on, yet they didn't. So for me, this is kind of like, well, nobody's going to shed a tear for Kim Kardashian. I'm still kind of like, what the fuck?
Yeah, the fine is like 5x what she got paid for a tweet.
Yeah.
Yeah, let's see. I have it right in here. I'm going to agree with you on this one, Brad, and I'm looking at it. Let's see. So this is from the SEC website. It was 1.26 million, including approximately 260,000 in disgorgement. That represents her promotional payment, the prejudgment interest, and then $1 million penalty. So really she had to pay back what she was paid for the announcement plus interest, and then find $1 million penalty for doing the announcement. But I agree with you. This one seems a little targeted. I think though, probably if you look at what she promoted, and this is bad on her research team or whoever handles this stuff for, this stuff is way more likely to be a security than something like a Bitcoin or a Dogecoin is proof of work. Both of those are proof of work tokens. So we bring those up. Those are clearly not securities. They will never be securities. But what Kim touted, it's an easy low-hanging fruit for Gensler to say she touted a security without doing the proper channel and disclosures. So she's going to be the one to get fined. But I hear what you're saying on a larger scale.
Yeah.
Tesla and Elon each had to pay 20 million fine.
Oh, so together it's 40.
Andy had to step down as chairman.
Yeah. But he's still CEO. That's what it was.
So there are
So it was a shit ton of money. That was a shit ton of money. But that was for threatening to take the company private, wasn't it?
Right. Yeah.
So a little bit different, but still.
Yeah, she's getting paid to promote.
Yeah.
He was speaking of his own investments.
Taking the company private.
Yeah.
Everybody freaked the fuck out.
Yeah. So, but to your point, I mean, Don even just said he's spoken to a couple regulators. They both said that they can prove intent. You're going to get the book, and the $1 million is the minimum. So worth noting that even though it's $1 million, it doesn't sound like a minimum. Kim K did get the minimum fine on this.
Yeah.
Well, minimum plus what she got.
Right. Minimum plus, but the fine itself is a minimal fine.
Yep.
Yeah. I believe Gary Gensler did say that, she was very cooperative with the whole thing. It's just funny. He comes out and says, "Oh, she was very good about the whole thing, but we still charged her 1.2 or fined her $1.2 million."
Yeah.
So,
SEC
she was great about it all, but we still took her money.
Yeah, that was like college football this weekend. An LSU player got hurt and damn near broke his neck, had to be carted off the field. And after he was carted off the field in the locker room, the refs assigned him a 15-yard penalty. You're just like, damn, really?
Being carted off the field.
Yeah.
And he's like, "Oh, by the way, you're ejected."
Yeah, by the way, 15-yard penalty on that guy.
As if he wasn't coming back. Or as if he was coming back.
But you know what I will say about things like that, whether it's the fine for Kim, the LSU player, and people will get in wrecks, in their vehicles and then get a ticket on top of that from a police officer.
Yeah.
I will say, though, that a lot of times those fines are simply because you are making whatever organization have to work and deal with it. So because you are making me have to do all this because you ran the stop sign, doesn't mean you meant to, but I have to do a lot of work now. So here's your ticket for making me do that.
It's raining or it's cold outside. You made me get out of my car.
Exactly. So here's your ticket for that.
Right. Oh my gosh, guys, let us know what you think in the comments about the situation with Kim K. Don actually, and I agree, Kim K is actually a very smart business person.
Super.
Worth billions of dollars now. She says, I love making fun of her. It's easy, but she's very smart business wise. I definitely agree with that.
I would.
She's a hustler, man.
Yeah.
Big time. There is nothing that woman touches that does not go to gold.
Yeah.
I mean, even this altcoin or whatever, she got paid. Okay.
Yeah.
The point is she touched it. She got paid.
SEC touched her, got paid too.
Oh yeah. Them too. Good point.
Whoever that was, what made her famous? Somebody touched her and
Ray J.
Yeah,
Ray J is what
Ray J
really made
touched
her
her and
famous.
Ray J touched her and she got paid.
Oh, very. That's a good point.
Moving on. So Credit Suisse has a potential to go the way of the Lehman Brothers right now.
Yeah, that's not good. Credit Suisse is an old institution out there.
Yeah, company
like 10 billion, I think.
Oh, it's more than that.
Yeah.
The company plunged nearly 10% in Europe's morning session after the Financial Times reported the Swiss bank's executives are in talks with its major investors to reassure them amid rising concerns over the Swiss lender's financial health. I believe it was Credit Suisse and someone else that manages, I don't know, several $1 trillion. And if these two companies go under, it's not going to be good. It's going to be worse than a Lehman Brothers type of event for the overall stock market.
Yeah. And
Which honestly is kind of a bit of a surprise to see the futures that are actually up today. I think, again, we could certainly see a reversal on the indexes if something like this continues to get louder.
They're already in trouble. Europe is already in trouble with the power.
Yeah.
And expenses. Now financial on top of that. It's getting hairy out there.
And it has everything to do with leverage.
Mhm.
This is just another leverage lesson. I feel like, they over leveraged with their asset managers, and now they're cutting it from I think around 60 billion to around 20 billion
Mhm.
that they're able to manage funds with. That is a significant drop.
You just looking, stock is down 60% year to date. Sounds like Bitcoin too. It's like,
There you go. It's down 60%. And the CEO trying to save face here says, I trust that you're not confusing our day-to-day stock price performance with a strong capital base and liquidity position of the bank. But Financial Times said the executive denied reports that the Swiss lender had formally approached its investors about possibly raising more capital, and insisted that Credit Suisse was trying to avoid such a move with its share price at record lows and higher borrowing costs due to rating downgrades. And to me, again, this has everything to do with leverage and how the company is being impacted by this. I don't know.
yeah, it's
It's just get in line. The
Yeah.
main thing is why are all these different companies going insolvent? Why? I mean, if Terra Luna was the first one relatively unknown in the crypto world, and we're gonna scapegoat Do Kwon on it,
Yeah.
why did everybody else fail too? Why 3AC? Why Celsius? Why other banks? Why?
leverage,
Right.
leverage.
It has everything to do with it.
Yeah.
You got to be super careful with that.
And I would love, I don't want to say I would love, I wouldn't mind if we saw somebody like a Credit Suisse go under and nobody saved them. We just need some of this stuff to die.
Cleansing.
Yeah.
There has to be. It's too much bloat. I mean, those too big to fail should have failed for a reason.
Yeah.
Although it would have
Right.
been terrible, like consequences, but
Correct.
there would have been a cleansing earlier than today, which were higher.
Yeah.
So
The silver lining, they're quoting here at the end of this period, is the fact that central banks will probably start to relent some of time as both inflation is down and financial conditions worsen dramatically. And saying that I don't think it's the end of the world, which I don't think either. And so I actually wanted to point out the other bank that I was talking about was Citibank. So Citibank and Credit Suisse are both in a lot of trouble as far as leverage is concerned, and are in danger of potentially going bankrupt. We'll see. We'll see what happens with those. But if those two go under, it will be ugly for the overall markets and for people like you and me as well. People who have their money in with Credit Suisse or Citibank, it'll be tough. It will be terrible. But we're seeing some moves and some de-risking like we haven't seen since the Great Recession, since the financial crisis of 2008. So it can very much happen. And I guess we'll continue to just watch and see this story, but I don't think we're done talking about Credit Suisse today.
no, nor Citibank.
Yeah.
These are the storm clouds. The storm isn't here yet, guys. So
Yeah.
stay chill.
That's
Diversify.
crazy. But it's like, especially in the US, talking about Citibank, I mean, we won't even let airlines fail. How in the world
I
will
know.
we not bail out Citibank? I mean, are we really in danger of them not getting bailed out? I
No.
don't think we are. I'm not saying that they don't go bankrupt, that they don't deserve to go bankrupt. All that might very well be true, but will we, with precedent set already during the 2008 bailouts, will we allow them to not be bailed out? I don't think we will. I think they will get bailed out, and the burden
They
will
always
lie on the
do.
taxpayer.
They always do.
But
That's my point.
the problem, guys, is that then all this fiat is fairy dust.
Yeah.
All these companies are fairy dust. It's not real. It's
Right.
being
Right. And as bad as we need a politician basically to say, like, Jaime, look, if you're not good enough to do the business, then you go bankrupt and you fail. Welcome to America.
Yeah.
You can't run on that platform. You can't run with elections around the corner, saying, hey, I'm going to be your president, but understand if you have bad business practice, I'm going to let you fail. You'll never make it into office with those powers that be. Never.
No.
And the problem is, no matter who wins the election, no matter who wins, this, I believe, is going to impact everyone after the elections, unless we do something really stupid in terms of policy. All this is going to hit us. From November on, December, January.
Yep.
This is why I think that we're going to see a red wave of after the elections. I don't know how the Democrats can actually make a good case or a good argument as to why people should vote for them this time around. I really don't. When you look at everything that's happened over the last 2 years, maybe some blame could be, they could spin the narrative of, well, yeah, we're still trying to clean up the mess from Trump.
Yeah, we inherited these problems.
But I really don't think that it's a solid argument. And, I'm trying to look at this as a unbiased, from an unbiased point of view, but it just, I don't know what kind of good argument you can make for the Democrats this time around. And I think that we're going to see a House that's controlled by Republicans as well as the Senate.
Yeah, but make no mistake about you. I agree completely, but they're not going to save you either. Whether your tie is blue or red, they're not going to save you. So, I mean, Trump goes back in, whatever, DeSantis, whoever, they're not going to do anything for the middle class. They're not going to do anything that's going to help just correct this ship right away. So please understand, your decisions are yours alone. And I think that is part of the reason we are starting to see Bitcoin getting so sticky. Because again, where do you go? Your traditional hard assets like real estate, that's getting difficult right now. Again, I know I sold a piece of land, plain land, because I could not afford the taxes on it anymore. I wasn't even building on it. So I had to unload it. I'm not putting money into a house right now. A 7% mortgage, if I already don't have a mortgage locked in, I'm not touching real estate right now.
Right.
Where do I put my money? In the dollar? That looks weird. Every other currency is falling and the dollar's going up. That doesn't make me feel good.
Almost to all-time highs.
Right. So Bitcoin it is. And I can understand your argument for gold. But like I mentioned earlier, if you research gold, you're going to start researching Bitcoin. And if you research Bitcoin, you're going to put your money there instead because it is just newer technology.
And it's portable.
It's just better.
Yeah. Yeah. You don't have to carry gold around, right?
No, those necklaces, they just slow you down.
And with the elections, there's no such thing as a quick fix in all this, right? It took us a long time to get to where we're at now, and it's going to take us just as long to get out of it and to get in a better spot. And me personally, I think people need to be held accountable for what the hell they're doing.
Right.
Well, you're making sense again, Greg. Don't try to make sense in politics.
You know what? Because Democrats are for heavy government, Republicans are for lighter government, and we've seen how heavy it can come recently, and the results it's had. And we're all of us sitting, no matter what color we believe in, we're going to end up paying for all this, and not just our own sins. We're paying for the earth's sins. And why do I say that? Is because everyone outside of the U.S., they're converting their fiat to US dollar to send it to the States because we're paying better interest rates. But if all we're doing with all our US dollars is saving zombie companies or things that should have died, when is this gonna where's the straw that's gonna break this camel's back?
Yeah.
So it's so important to have your own store of value in your hands, be it gold, silver, Bitcoin, whatever assets you do have. Trust me, I already went through a nightmare trying to wire money for a good business, and it took me a week to clear it all up. Imagine when things start melting down, you try to get the money, you direct deposited it into your bank account, get it back out for you to survive as a family. You see the storm coming, and it's coming soon, guys.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Speaking of which, we have an article here that says that Bitcoin could hit 10% adoption rate by the end of the decade. And so if this trajectory continues to move on, that could be very well it. Lettuce hands is an expression used sometimes people use to describe an investor who sells their Bitcoin at the first sign of trouble, often at a loss. An example of this used in a sentence might be Elon Musk has better stands because he sold 75% of Tesla's Bitcoin holdings in the second quarter. Tamp, I believe this is one that you had brought up. Kind of elaborate on this a little bit.
Well, I want to know the number. I mean, I think this is just the inevitable, right? Bitcoin is a technology that has been invented. You cannot uninvent it. Because it is technology, it moves forward. It is based in logic and math. Thus, it is legitimate. Okay? Its adoption is inevitable, and these rough economic times we just spent 30 minutes talking about just enhances its use case. Every time Gensler or Powell or anybody else takes the stage, all it is an endorsement for Bitcoin, right? And this article just says as much. Given enough time, extrapolate far enough out, and this is why people say Bitcoin's going to go to 500,000, Bitcoin's going to go to 1 million. It's not financial advice, but if you project on the trajectory that we are already moving on, that is where it's going, right? So like Greg just said, you can't take such a huge mess that we have right now economically and quickly turn that around. That is going to take time. So again, you project out what is going to happen. If we stay on the same roads and we stay on the same routes with the same policies we've been having, this article is inevitable the same way. And 10% of global adoption, I think, is the low side right there. So again, it's, what has to happen? Bitcoin goes to $3,000 and you're like, dang, I should have bought it when it was 30. So Bitcoin goes up to $20,000. It drops back. Dang, I should have bought it when it was $10,000. Bitcoin's going to go up to $60,000. It drops back to 20. It's going to go back up, and it's going to eventually get to these numbers. You'll just be sitting there saying, I wish, when really what you should do is just research, look at the inevitable, look at, basically 200% per year is Bitcoin's average return, and just bite the bullet. Just buy the stuff, keep it safe, and then forget about it.
And on top of that, Tam, is the fact that Bitcoin mining is the buyer of last resort for electric companies. So many people are speaking of renewable energy, wind, solar, and these are sources that are not consistent in terms of production. And when it is producing, usually it's at a time that's off of where the needs usually are. So if it's not used, it just goes to waste. Bitcoin, because it's such a stable consumer of the power, it guarantees that every watt or megawatt or terawatt produced is consumed by minting a tangible asset. So it creates funding to improve our electrical power grid, any country's electrical power grid. And if you notice here on this chart, we're looking at is sustainable power mix, Bitcoin mining versus countries overall. And Bitcoin is the one that has the highest consumption or demand for it, that produces a return on investment. Everyone else are the citizenry and industries using the power and consuming it to produce. Bitcoin is doing the same thing, but at a very stable consumption. And if it's too much, we all know, even here at Metafy, where we can actually adjust the power consumption based on the market needs at the time. So there's not only adoption as investments, but also adoption in terms of power to stabilize the grids themselves and produce a usable asset. And the fact that it's portable, there's so many things in favor of Bitcoin for this adoption. And there's this chart here in this where it shows long-term projection.
That's it. Global
There it is.
Bitcoin adoption right there.
Yeah, long-term projection of global Bitcoin adoption, where we see where we are.
That's crazy. That's crazy to see that we're that low. I just wouldn't have expected it to be that low, given how much we see it now mainstream and what have you. Like, I'm surprised that it's that small of an amount.
I think some of it's probably education, right? You got people that haven't bought into it yet because they feel like one coin is too much. They don't realize you can buy portions of coins.
Absolutely.
So that people think it's a rich man's game right now, right?
Mhm.
And it's
I
not
think
even
they're too
fair.
late.
Yeah, and you're not too late at all
Right.
Right.
Oh,
based on what's coming. So we are in a time period of reckoning in terms of the industry itself, but in terms of the technology, looking at it from a technology like the internet, and this is the next iteration of the internet, a protocol for money, we haven't even touched it yet. When you go to countries like in Latin America where they're not even aware, it depends on the strata of society, of course, we're speaking to. They're not even aware of Bitcoin itself. They're barely aware of money transfer internal to them for tips or anything like we have Venmo and these others.
Right.
They don't see it. The ones that are aware of it are the ones that are having to send from other countries to their country. That's where they're more aware of Bitcoin itself. But once people get it, not just as long-term investment, but also as a means to peer-to-peer, meaning I, Brad can and Tam or Greg can send money to each other directly without a middleman taking their fee, it will change the game when it comes to this. I don't know about replacing fiat, but yes, like gold being a counterparty or a hedge against fiat overall.
yep. And you know what's crazy about articles like these? What I think they really do is they show the power of a deflationary currency, which Bitcoin is. It is capped at 21 million. You can never print more of it. And that's exactly what we're doing with our dollars and other fiat currencies as well. Is they're just infinite. We can just print them forever. And people, I think, are starting to see the difference. Look how quote unquote expensive Bitcoin is right now relative to, like this chart says, no adoption whatsoever. How can Bitcoin be $20,000 plus? How can Bitcoin get to $500,000 or $1 million? That is the power of a capped deflationary currency. So when you compare that to fiat, which is going out of control, our younger generations, they're now starting to project their own future, right? They're looking at, what do I do? What do I learn from my parents who grew up in this fiat based, economy that's going to absolute shit right now? They're not getting into traditional finance. Young people coming out of college or just now going into college, trying to figure out what they want to do with the rest of their lives, they're looking into alternative. They don't want anything to do with the dollar. They don't want anything to do with stocks. They don't want anything to do with your 401k. I mean, if their corporate company offers it, yeah, I guess why not? But they're not passionate about it. They're not banking on Social Security. They're not banking on their future looking like their parents did. Why? Because we're going to new forms of money because the dollar's not working. So, in a nod to what Greg said about education and everything that Jaime just, described, articles like this are the education. They're hard to believe because you're like, wow, Bitcoin, I guess, is different. Why is it $20,000 a coin and we have no adoption whatsoever right now? Why are we still early in Bitcoin when it's $20,000 a coin? And these are the reasons why people are starting to figure it out, just barely though. But it's hard economic times like this that make it happen.
Yeah.
Just got to do your research. And what we've been on a mission on DCTV is education. Let everyone know what options you have towards the future of your own finance.
Yeah.
And control of your own destiny.
For sure.
So join us on Discord, guys.
And also talking about whatever the fuck we want.
Yeah. Very constructive. Thank you, Ken.
Yeah, make sure we go to our Discord. It's absolutely free. The link is in the description. We'd love to have you guys as part of the DCTV fan. As I had mentioned earlier, we're only live 1 hour out of the day. If you want 24/7 access to us as well as the rest of the community, and you just need some more DCTV, go ahead and check out the links down in the description below. It's absolutely free to become part of our Discord. We'd love to have you guys there. Moving on to the next piece I have from Barron's. There's a piece that they put out, says it's time to buy tech again, and gave 20 stocks. I'm not going to go over all 20 stocks, but it just got me thinking about potentially some stocks in my own portfolio, and maybe some ones that are worth taking a look at. For those of you who are part of the Chaos crew, who are in at Own the Chaos, you can go follow me at Own the Chaos on YouTube, on Twitter, all of the socials. I'm everywhere. but you can go find me there. I'll be talking about this later on this afternoon as well. But I thought it was important to kind of bring this up because as we talk about Bitcoin and technology and how things are improving, what have you, or that's the future. There's so many technology companies out there, stocks in general, that are actually worth taking a look at now because they've been so depressed as well. And I want to reiterate this by saying, I think there's some people that watch this. They're like, oh, I don't want to talk about stocks. It's not the same. And it's like, no, it's not. But at some point in this world, you're going to be buying stocks with crypto. So it's going to be important to at least look at some of these stocks and diversify your portfolio. It's not all about just Bitcoin. I know some of the maxis out there are probably like, gasping. But there is space. There is the opportunity to do both.
Yes. And the time is now. Don't wait till the market is good.
Yeah.
Now's the time to plant your seeds. It's right after winter.
And I wanted to kind of point everybody's direction to Meta platforms. Oops, not this one. To Meta platforms. So this is one in particular that I thought was actually worth taking a look at because of just how much this has come down. It's trading at 13 times next year's earnings. When you look at the S&P, it's trading at 15 times. I think this is the first time in a long time that we've seen Facebook, aka Meta platforms, trading below the S&P 500 is from a fundamental standpoint. And a lot of people are worried about the growth here, which I certainly understand. However, $40 billion of free cash flow doesn't lie. And I also think, we're looking at lows now where this is sitting at the pandemic low of Meta platforms. Can it go lower? Can it break these levels? Of course it can. But I think the risk reward here is certainly great. Their exposure and the way that they've been investing in Web3 and the metaverse, I think shouldn't go overlooked as many people and investors and institutions are right now. It's inevitable, in my opinion, and I think that they're going to be a major player in this space. And again, risk reward wise, it actually looks like a pretty decent buy.
Absolutely.
Even if it goes lower.
Yeah. You don't have to like him to not bet against Zuckerberg. Why would you bet against that guy?
Right.
Yeah.
When it comes to money, make the money.
Yes, and they are making the money. That
they
cash
are.
flow is king. So they are earning, guys. So look at cash flow, look at their growth, regardless of what the entire market's doing. That's what we mean by look at it during these down times, during these boring times is the time to pick your winners. And don't go all in without doing your own research, for the love of God.
Yeah. Another one that I was looking at, and we're just going to stick with the FANG theme for here just for a moment. So bear with me, but this will be the last FANG stock I talk about. But Amazon's another one. Everybody looks at Amazon as an e-commerce platform, and they are that. But AWS is 40% of their revenue each and every year.
What is AWS?
It's their cloud computing space.
Exactly, guys. So
and the cloud's going to continue to just be an absolute force.
Even crypto is using AWS, the crypto industry.
For sure.
So
absolutely.
Trust me, guys. The Amazon has it right. They have logistics. They have freaking everything. Pretty soon, they're going to be feeding us from little bottles on the corners of our ceiling.
Right.
So be careful.
Yeah, you look at the stock right now, and the chart certainly looks interesting. I think that there's room for this to come down a little bit further, around $100 a share. It's interesting just to talk about Amazon still at $100 a share when you're used to just seeing it in thousands since they're split, but it's still very weird to me. But you can see this is the weekly chart here, and $100 seems to be that spot to watch for. I do think that does end up coming lower, but this is just another tech stock that I think has been beaten down that's worth taking a look at. Next one is going to be Crowdstrike. And this, I'm picking out Crowdstrike as an example, but really cybersecurity in general is going to continue to be a sector and industry to look at. Again, this is the weekly chart. You can see it's been a bit messy, a little sideways for the most part, but we're starting to see a bit of a trend with the overall stock market, as I mentioned at the top of the show, being down 10% over the last month. Crowdstrike over the last couple of weeks has actually started to move up. So it's been diverging on the overall markets. And so I think that cybersecurity in general, you can look at your Palo Altos, Zscalers, some of the other ones, I think is worth taking a look at in this space. Crowdstrike is expensive from a fundamental standpoint. I believe it's trading at somewhere in the vicinity of 80 times next year's earnings, which is kind of insane. But the premium, I think, is worth it based off of the growth trajectory here. You look at Russia, you look at some of the other cybersecurity demands and needs that we still need to take part in. And to me, I don't think cybersecurity is going anywhere. And if anything, I think this is on a huge trajectory for growth.
And all of us are subscribed to these notifications from our credit cards where it says, hey, your password just appeared on the dark web.
Right.
You should maybe go change it. Well, this is part of that philosophy. How many times have you gotten that notice, did not act on it? Now you're wondering, okay, when are they going to strike? This is the type of industry or company that exists as a hedge against those scenarios, but we have to do our own part. But as an investment, if we ever go into cyber war, guys, it's not going to be pretty. And these are the companies that are primed to respond to those situations.
Yeah, and they will skyrocket.
Yes.
I mean, they will skyrocket.
Even the government will invest in this type of industry.
Yeah. Again, it's inevitable. I don't think that these are going away anytime soon. And those are just the three that I wanted to point out. But, the cloud computing space, when you're looking at tech stocks, obviously we've seen so many that have come down, right? Like the Pelotons of the world that have come down 90%. They're not coming back anytime soon. They're just not. But you look at some of these good, reliable companies that have products that can generate pricing power, and we can even look at Apple and Google as an example as well. But Amazon, they're needed. The cybersecurity, Amazon's AWS platform, Facebook, aka Meta platforms with Web3 and where that's headed. I think these are companies that it may be tough for the next couple of months or so, but we're going to look back at some of these prices and be like, man, I can't believe I missed out on that.
Absolutely. And we're not saying go in and jump.
Right. You don't have to go balls deep on these.
But you can go dollar cost averaging little by little.
Yep.
So you average to whatever price they're at, or you set your buys at where you believe you should be. But that's for another conversation when Don Fran show is present, so we can find these levels and zones.
Yeah, absolutely. So, all right. Good stuff there. I wanted to check back in with the markets because they are on fire right now. Looking at the S&P 500, that's up 1%. The Dow's up over 1%. NASDAQ is up 0.75%. I'm looking at energy right now. Crude oil's on absolute fire. Not literally, because it would be, yeah.
Bam.
But crude oil right now is at $84 a barrel. It's WTI crude. It's up 6%, over 6% right now. That is insane. For those of you in my chaos crew, I talked about PXD, and that stock is also up 6%. Bitcoin is still hanging in there. It's up 0.33%, $19,236 per Bitcoin. And that's going to bring us towards the end of our show, but we still have birthdays, guys. Birthdays. Let me pull it up. Maybe. I might pull it up. We'll see. Hold on. There we go. So, actually, some big birthdays today as we head into the end of the show. By the way, if you guys want to check us out, again, go check out the Discord. It's absolutely free. Links that are in the description. But Gwen Stefani's birthday is today. She's 53 years old.
Dude.
Damn.
Holla back.
Yeah.
Hollaback girl is 53.
No
holla back girl.
Yeah, she ain't no hollaback girl. That's right. Sean William Scott is 46. American guy, famously known for American Pie, but so many other movies.
Apple pie.
Clive Owen is 58.
Wow.
Tommy Lee is 60. Ashley Simpson 38, and then Al Sharpton coming in at 68. But let's not forget about Andy San Dimas. She is 36 years old today. She was the star of Double D Dude Ranch, Hot and Mean. This ain't the Expendables, Whipped Ass, and MILFs Like a Black 7, guys. And those are our birthdays for today.
You just giggled like a teenager, right?
Because I am a child.
Yes.
Because I am a child.
That is one porn star per week. All right. Per day.
Hey, I got them days. Those are some big birthdays today, though, too. I mean, Gwen Stefani, 53. That's crazy.
Yeah, that's wild right there. I didn't think she was that much older than me.
Yeah.
Damn, makes me feel good. Still have time.
Let's undo some mistakes.
The more that I thought about it, I was like, I think Don't Speak. I was in middle school at best.
Oh, Jesus.
I was in college.
I was in the Navy.
So, all right, guys, that's going to do it for our show today. Again, thanks so much for tuning in. Make sure you hit the links in the description. Come join our Discord for absolutely free. Doesn't cost you a dime. Just a great place to hang out, as well as hitting that subscribe button. Hit subscribe, hit that notification bell. See you back here tomorrow at 9 a.m. Eastern time. Tim, Greg, Jaime, thanks so much for hanging out with me this morning as well. We'll see you tomorrow.
Welcome to October, guys.
See ya.
Make it
Have a good day.
keep calm.